All right, man. This is episode number 75 of the Cozy Corner of Cinema. This is being recorded on Monday, September 4th, 2023 at exactly 4 o'clock p.m. And this is my first episode I'm recording off of my telephone. My laptop is temporarily out of commission, so I can't use my traditional microphone and I can't upload this on said laptop. But if you're listening to this on Spotify, then you have this when it first releases, but if you listen on YouTube, this will be uploaded a couple days after the fact, so I can walk around and talk while I'm recording. That's so cool, man. So I had some notes I was going to talk about a couple of films that, I'm a little unorganized right now, so I may actually just push that to next week, because I think this would be kind of a fun idea. I'm looking at my collection of films right now and just kind of spur of the moment talk about some films, talk about some labels, all that good stuff. There's just so much here, man, to give you kind of a visual kind of companion to the audio. I'm looking at just a wall of films here, man. Two walls have thousands of films, some across multiple formats, but primarily Blu-rays. I've been trying to really kind of upgrade to Blu-ray. The DVDs that I do have are only on DVD or are very expensive to buy on Blu-ray. So there are some that I know I probably won't just get for a while. So I have about 50 or so DVDs here, and just some cool stuff, man. I was actually at the flea market the other day, which is somewhere I normally wouldn't go. Something compelled me, which is bizarre because, I really don't like to go out and, do any looking around. It's a complete waste of time, in my opinion, but something compelled me, and I thought, why don't I just take a look really quick? I promise I will not be more than 5 to 10 minutes tops, and I made that promise to myself, and I was out of there quick, and I actually ended up finding a couple of good titles. I picked up some titles there, but these two DVDs are films I hadn't even heard of that will definitely have to be watched at some point. This film from 2007, I believe. This film, L'Enfant, aka The Child, a film by Jean-Pierre Dardenne and Luc Dardenne. I don't know what this is, man, but it looked interesting. I was all for it. I think I may have actually heard of this before. It's a very generic title, but either way, it just sounds very familiar. And I picked up this other title, The Rachel Papers. This is a pretty good cast. You got Dexter Fletcher, Ione Skye, Jonathan Pryce, and James Spader. This is from '89, and this looked like just a cool film, man. This is a MGM DVD, and this film and L'Enfant don't have Blu-rays, so that's usually when I'll pick them up. Because if they have Blu-rays, if it's a VHS and it's dirt cheap, that's one thing. I did also pick up for 50 cents Jeremiah Johnson with Robert Redford, directed by Sidney Pollack. I've never seen that film. I figured 50 cents. I think that has a Blu-ray, and I have no problem upgrading that at some point. I only got a couple VHS, man. I don't have a whole lot here. Mostly horror titles that all need to be upgraded at some point. One of these, I don't think... I got Wes Craven's Chiller on VHS. I don't think that has a Blu-ray. I got a VHS, a Dead Pit, and the head is kind of torn off, so you can see where the lights for the eyes would have been. But yeah, these will all get upgraded at some point, man. All in due time. That's great. I can even pet the cat while I'm recording. Oh my gosh, this is awesome. Very cool stuff. But what I was talking about before, I thought it'd be interesting just to kind of go through some random titles, because I got no notes. I'm unorganized, and I figured, why the hell not, It's I feel like I'm off my game, being able to move around and being able to walk around while still having this microphone. Keeping myself hydrated with this delicious seltzer water, man. Gotta stay hydrated in this weather. Days are getting cooler, but very tiring work day, let me tell you that. So gotta stay hydrated, make sure you're on top of that. When you look at all these films, you're sort of like, you realize that you're never going to get through it all. You're never going to get through all the bonus features. You're never going to be able to revisit the films that you wanted to, but you do what you can in the time allotted to you. I think that's so important, is that, if you have a passion for something, if you have an interest, it doesn't have to be films, but it could be really whatever. I think you really have to find that goal in yourself to devote the time to said interest or said topic. And, it's easy to say that, say one thing, but people, they end up just getting so enraptured in the myriad, of life and the choices and just nonsense, man. People just, you know, they put their hopes and dreams aside for what, you know, for to hang out for a little bit, have meaningless conversations. You know, what's that quote from Bukowski? It says that Sundays have killed more men than war, or something like that. It's not verbatim, but it's something along those lines. You know, we got Labor Day weekend with us, and you know, it's a perfect opportunity to use that time exactly how you want to use it. And if that means you want to sit and watch TV and drink beer, well then, brother, I hope you do that, and I hope you have a great time doing that. But, you know, for a lot of us, it means, you know, following our pursuits and our passions. You know, writing will be done, will be accomplished. I have the day off later this week, so it actually kind of works out. Writing will definitely be accomplished. Reading and watching will be accomplished. Actually, I was in the middle of watching a film last night on my laptop, which I try not to do, but sometimes you just kind of have to when it kicked the bucket on me. So that's unfortunate. Make sure you're backing up your stuff too. I backed up most of it, so I got no worries on that front. Yeah, man, just so many titles, so many bonus features, just so much of everything. I got the box sets behind me. Man, just so much good stuff here. This is just truly this is like a library. You know, you're getting so much culture, so much different kinds of films here too. You know, it's just I got the It's Alive box set sitting next to my Jacques Demy box set. It's just, you know, great. And I think I've seen all three of the It's Alive films. I don't remember a thing about Island of the Alive if I have seen it. It's Alive. Yeah, it's interesting. I think I've definitely seen everything in the Jacques Demy box. They got Lola, Bay of Angels, The Umbrellas of Cherbourg, The Young Girls of Rochefort, Donkey Skin, and Une Chambre en Vie. And actually, a good companion would that be in the Agnes Varda set, which is, on top of the obvious, Agnes Varda was married to Jacques Demy. Jacques Demy died fairly young, I would say. And Agnes Varda just died the past couple of years. She was making films up to her final years. I believe her final work, maybe not her final work, but I think her final work that had gotten quite a bit of attention was Faces, Places, which was an interesting documentary. You know, Agnes Varda is a filmmaker who, I'll be upfront and I'll say that I think I dislike more of her work than I like it, but, you know, I understand her importance in French cinema, and she does have some films that I do actually like quite a bit. I think Vagabond is probably my favorite of her work. I think that's a really terrific film, but, you know, I think it's good I'm glad I have this box set, because at least I'm able to have an educated opinion about her works. I've seen most of it, and, you know, there's a couple films here I still haven't seen that I'm not really in a rush to, but either way, you know, I just... it is a good box set. Although I'm not crazy about these. Criterion are so weird with their box sets. They'll either have a great box set or they'll have just some nonsense, man. That Godzilla set, oh my gosh, man, that thing is horrible. I don't mean to be rude, man. You know, it's like the discs themselves are good. You know, the films look good, but holy macaroni, man, that's a terrible box set. That glue is so cheap, or the discs, man, it's just you can't even really put it somewhere. I'm looking at it here, and it's next to the cereal box. Herschel Gordon Lewis box set from Arrow Video, which is a terrific box set. You know, maybe the films themselves are of varying quality, but it's just funny, those two side by side. Yeah, man, just cool stuff. I liked it when Criterion used to have the box sets that had the actual individual cases in them. I got the Whit Stillman trilogy here, which features Metropolitan. I always call it Metropolis by accident. Yeah, Metropolitan, Barcelona, and The Last Days Disco. You know, just great films right here. If you're not familiar with these, he did a couple of films of recent memory. He came back in 2011 to do Damsels in Distress with Greta Gerwig. And then he did, in 2015, I believe, I'm going off memory, I'm not even looking this up, I think Love and Friendship from 2015 with Kate Beckinsale, and I believe Chloe Sevigny is in that film, who was also in, or no, maybe, you know what, well, Kate Beckinsale was in The Last Days of Disco. I don't remember if Chloe Sevigny was in Love and Friendship. You know, I'd have to look that up, but I'm not able to right now. Look at that, I'm even in the kitchen right now, making sure that the, yep, still heating up. That's just wild, man. We're in a time you can walk around the house and you're listening to this. Maybe you're listening to this in your car, or you're at work, or you're on YouTube. Any of that, man. It's just wild. It's kind of hard to put into words. It's sort of the surreal quality of being able to walk around and stand here and talk to you guys, man. It's real cool stuff. Very cool, man. Yeah, any collector knows that you're trying to organize these things, man. You get a film That's far back. You're moving everything, man. It's good to leave a little bit of space. What I like to do, I like to leave a little bit of space. So if I have like a big box set or something, then I have room to move it. Like I'm looking at this Ghost Watch box set. Holy macaroni, this thing is huge. But this is like a sturdy, you hear that? That's a sturdy box set, man. Yeah, I got to check out the bonus features on this thing. Do you believe in ghosts? 30th anniversary documentary on the Ghost Watch phenomenon. Commentary with film historians. Yeah, that's very cool stuff, man. You know, when it comes to these big box sets, I always feel bad about the booklets because I have every intention of reading the booklets, or when Criterion or Arrow have the booklets. But you know, I don't like to read them first. I don't want it to influence my opinion on the film. I don't want any spoilers. But then I watch the film, and whether I like or dislike it, I always forget to go back. And at this point, I mean, it's just so overwhelming just looking at. I mean, so many of these just have booklets that I'm sure are fantastically written by phenomenal writers, and I definitely don't want to seem ungrateful if I don't read them all, because you just forget. It's just wild. Let's see here. I do like the media books though. Those are very cool editions. I got a media book here for Dead Mountaineers Hotel, which is I think it's like Czechoslovakian film. I don't actually remember where it's from. I think I made that up. This is a German media book, so it's all in Germany. It's all in German. What is all in Germany? Yeah, you know. But I like how this is set up. You have the disc in the front, and then you have pages and pages of text. Very cool stuff. But it's all in German, so I can't read it. But Dead Mountaineers Hotel is a good film. I have one for Ex-Drummer as well. I don't remember where that film is from. There it is. It's Belgian, I believe. Ex-Drummer is very good as well. Ex-Drummer is a film that's always categorized as like a disturbing film, and it's really not. It's got some violence that's pretty wild, but I remember hearing a conversation with stuff like, you know, some of the crazy stuff like August Underground and stuff. It's nothing like that. It's just a drama, man, that has some crazy parts in it. Yeah, but this all has been meticulously organized for many, many a year. You know, when I was younger and I was very much, hardcore into collecting DVDs, and then at some point, you know, I was slow to Blu-ray, man. I wasn't on it at first. They were a little pricey. It was about, like $30, $40 a title. And somebody, I didn't have a job back then. I was just a kid. I gotta wait for the holidays, your birthday, or you ask your parents every now and then for a title, and they'd get you one. So it just wasn't realistic to expect to keep that up. But once I got a job, it was, I think around that time is when Blu-rays were pretty in the mainstream conscience, that I started to primarily collect those. And now, I mean, it's good to have everything, man. It's good to have them because, a lot of DVDs and stuff, tons and tons and tons of films are still stuck on DVD, bonus features that don't get ported over, commentaries that don't get ported over, or even on VHS. It's sort of like how many of those films have never even made it to DVD. That's why it's kind of good to collect everything, so you can have a wealth of knowledge on many films that are not just on Blu-ray. But at the same time, it's also understandable if somebody does not want to, buy a physical kind of release. Buy a physical, Blu-ray or DVD or VHS, whatever. It's probably easier for them to stream it, which is fine and all that. But I'm of the mindset that it's like whatever they want to do to a film later on, if they want to censor it, if they want to cut a scene out or add some stuff, whatever. It's like no one's going to take that version away from you, because what are they going to do? Come into your house and take your Blu-ray of it? No way, man. Oh, the cat, I think, wants to go out, so we'll walk and talk with the cat. I heard something recent that Disney Plus was censoring some titles. I don't know how true that was. I try not to get too involved with any kind of nonsense, tabloid, crazy headlines. Oh, I hear they're doing this, they hear doing that. It's like, no, I didn't hear about that, man, because I don't really care. I got my Blu-ray, so I don't have to worry about that, But, cat want to go out? Hey, what are you doing, little man? Yeah. I mentioned before kind of the frustration at the Disney Movie Club, Disney Movie Rewards kind of program. You have to spend X amount of money to have the ability to buy their Blu-rays. it makes a pain, man. I don't think those Blu-rays even have features. I think they're just as is. And there's plenty I'd like to buy. Of course, I love the Mighty Ducks, or like I don't know if Midnight Madness has a Blu-ray. There's some titles there that I wouldn't mind getting, but in the long run, it's just not feasible to just sign up, because I think you have to keep buying X amount from them, and you have to they'll if you. An acquaintance of mine was he signed up for it to get some titles, and he didn't do something, and they ended up sending him like more titles than he wanted and charging him for them. He got charged like $35-40 for I think it was the Dumbo Tim Burton one, and he wasn't even aware of that. I think it happened like 2 or 3 times to him. Columbia House back in the day, they used to pull that, man. They used to have, remember those 10 DVDs for $1 sort of thing, or like 30 cents for a whole thing of movies, and you're like, oh my god, there's so many movies, man. That's a great deal. And then it's like you gotta buy into their nonsense. Those guys were always slow at shipping. They could never do that, man. But they would do the same thing. They would send you movies, but then they'd charge you for them. It's like I remember my ma getting them in the mail, and she was like, "Man, what the hell is this?" And I'm like, "Wow, what did you order the bucket list starring Morgan Freeman and Jack Nicholson?" And she's like, "No way, I didn't order the bucket list starring Morgan Freeman and Jack Nicholson." I'm like, "Well, it looks like you did. They charged you for it. I think they charged her like $30 for it too, man. It was some crazy amount of money for even back then for a DVD. It's like, dude, man, no one's paying $30 for the bucket list starring Morgan Freeman and Jack Nicholson." I'm just saying. I remember we got that. You guys remember that movie Vantage Point with Dennis Quaid and Forrest Whitaker? I remember seeing that film in the cinema, and everyone in the theater. So if you guys haven't seen that film, man, it's a film where the bombing happens, and we see the different vantage points of like a photographer, of the terrorists themselves, of an FBI agent, and so they would play through it, and then it would cut back to like, oh, now we have the FBI's point of view, now we have this point of view, and every time it would go back, like people in the audience were like groaning, like, oh my gosh, it was real funny, man. That was 2007, I think. Oh my gosh, it's funny how time flies, man. It's crazy to think that you got 2008. It was 15 years ago. I remember what I was doing in 2008, man. It was just wild. I remember seeing like, those are the years, man, where there was no school in the summer. Making a pizza right now. This is crazy. I'm talking to you as I'm making a pizza. Well, actually, the microwave. I'm making something else too, but I'm making a pizza right now. This is insane. But it's like back in the day, you didn't have school in the summer, and you could just do, and you had that feeling of freedom in the summer. Like, oh my gosh, you never wanted it to end. You could do whatever you wanted to. You could stay up as late as you wanted to, and it was just great, man. It was a great feeling. And at some point, people kind of lose that idea because, you get older, you have more responsibilities, you have a job, maybe you're going back to school, this or that, man. And that's why you can look back on those and just say, like, I didn't get anything done at this time. But ultimately, it's like, how do you feel about that time, man? What did you get out of it? Did you enjoy yourself? If you didn't enjoy yourself, then I can understand the frustration. But if you did, then what's the problem, my man? That's the thing I always say. Is that as long as you're enjoying what it is you're enjoying, man, you don't gotta impress anybody else. You don't have to follow anybody else's rules to make your life better. If you're happy doing God knows what, then you gotta be upright. You gotta be upright too. You want to have good posture, You gotta be forthright in your decisions, man. You gotta be forthright in making your dreams come true, whatever that might be. If your dream is to sit on the couch and watch sports all day and do whatever you want, then you got to do it. As long as you're getting your responsibilities done, it's your life to live, man. You got to make sure that you're at the forefront of that. And now I'm kind of trailing off into other nonsense conversation, which you definitely want to stay away from because you ain't gonna get anywhere with that. But yeah, man. Let me just pull this up here. Hey, you. Talking to the cat right here. That's crazy. I don't know what he's looking for. Yeah, but there's just there's just so much to go through. I mean, there's just films here that gosh, I don't want to say I don't remember getting, but there's just plenty of films here. I'm like, oh, you have that? That's cool, man. Gotta think to yourself about that. And hold the phone. Yeah, this is not very productive to do this in multiple ways, because I'm getting distracted by all this other nonsense when I'm not focusing on the main task at hand, which is talking about films. It's crazy stuff. Yeah, I definitely had to pause there. So you're going to hear a little bit of a break there. I was getting far too distracted with my surroundings. I was just losing my train of thought just so quickly. It's definitely don't want that to happen. But yeah, without my laptop, I got my film list on there. So I use a very specific way of tracking what I'm going to watch next. So I'm going to have to just freewheel it. And we'll have to catch up on some stuff on TCM. I know I got a bunch recorded on there that I've got to go through. I've got 40 or so hours of films on there that is constantly being added to. So we got to clear up some space on there, watch some films, and then open it up to some more films that could be recorded. It's always great, man. You want to keep an eye on what TCM is showing, because they have a lot of really cool stuff that maybe wouldn't normally come across on your own, or even titles that maybe aren't that readily available. There's some films that I've been looking for in the past, and I go to look them up, and it'll say something like, introduction from TCM. And it's just like, oh, I must have shown this on TCM at some point. Damn, man, if only I had known about it back then, I could have been on that like white on rice, man. But, yeah, no, you can go online, you can look at their whole schedule for the month, and I don't know how far out they actually post them. I remember getting a magazine that would have the schedules on there, and it was always great to circle the ones that you wanted to watch and, make a priority of the films that, you wanted to, because a lot of times I wasn't even recording. I was just watching it live, so it's just like, oh, damn, it's on right now. I got to do this, man. It's like, it's something else. Oh, man. All right. Well, for the sake of time on this one, I feel so disorganized that I'm going to cut this episode early. I normally try to get to at least 30 minutes, but we're not getting anywhere in conversation, so I'd rather leave it as a footnote rather than another full episode. So we're going to leave it here, guys. Hopefully the laptop's going to be ready soon. We can get back on track, be focused on our goals, on our dreams, on our passions, on our future, because it's the only one that we got. All right. Well, thanks for listening. Appreciate it. All the best. And we'll be back soon.